Francisco. Welcome to my channel. We're going to look today at the energies leading up to the partial lunar eclipse coming in on September 17th, 18th, depending on where you are, 2024. So a lot of us are already on the edge of our seats in one way or another in our own lives, waiting for something to fall into place, to start anew, and we may just be a tiny bit shy of it. So don't give up. You're still on the journey. Wow. Holy crap. Okay, so all right, first of all, let's talk about what flew out of the deck, the Knight of Cups in a feminine version. So this is healing, music, soul, heart. What moves your heart? What moves you because of your heart? And so, yeah, I'd say we're still in our heart center, or trying to heal the parts of ourselves that feel wounded and don't want to fragment off, basically. The other, okay, so our core card coming into the eclipse, and we have seen this card many a time in these last number of months. I'd say 6-8 months solid. So I think this is connected to the solar eclipse as well, the energy that came in through April, and the things that came to light, and the new energies that came into our bodies, literally through that solar eclipse, into our solar plexus, into our crown chakra, and any other part of our system that was willing to upgrade. So you might have chosen, I think a lot of people were choosing their heart. And anyway, you have to be, you know what, your own core logic has to be in place, meaning your core is the logical place to start. Not that you logic your way out of it. Let me be clear. All right, so we're starting off with Nine of Wands. This is, to me, the PTSD card. To me, this is old wounds, post-traumatic, as I mentioned, as well as past life traumas as well that may not have resolved. And it calls for a clearing out of the first chakra. So it requires us to go deep into our own system. And even though it's gnarly and painful and overwhelming, to clear it out nonetheless, and to bless it on its way out the door. A lot of people keep a lot of their traumas and pains to themselves and hidden, obviously. It's ironic that leading into the eclipse and a partial lunar, where you'd think, you know, well, whatever, I won't get into that, but yeah, so it's hidden. The things that are hidden are still coming out. It is the tail end, though. So so you may feel frazzled, you may feel overwhelmed, you may feel upside down, you may feel like there's like, what's going on? I'm not sure if anything is ever going to begin, and all the rest of it. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I just think that we're living a bit of our own other spiritual deaths from other lifetimes. So it feels like we're kind of dying in some ways, I guess. Some people end up, when this energy comes into their lives, they talk more about their traumas, you know, like the healing, they've healed enough, or they're accepting the reality of their pain or their grief, and that alone is helping them get to the next level. I've seen a lot of people during this last number of months grounding in different ways energetically when I do readings, because I always check the energetics to see what's going on in the structure. And I have to say, this is probably the busiest first chakra year I've ever seen. Yeah, although ironically, it's also the most rapid growth spiritually I've ever seen, in people who for years and decades had no clue of what their intuition was, and then suddenly had full intact knowledge systems, you know, information channels running through them, and they have the confidence to live with it. So I've seen massive amounts of growth, and in the masses, really, that I've come across. So And this has come up for so many people. You have no idea. Like, oh my God. So think of the beauty in the release of the pain that you don't need anymore. I mean, think about what you're letting go of and saying goodbye to as you cycle through this completion, because you would be completing this cycle, moving into this eclipse anyway, because I think it's on a new moon, right, or whatever it is, I don't know. But anyway, so Nine of Wands, healing wounds to expand the crown. Literally, it's true between the crown chakra, which is this magenta color, and the root chakra, which is the red. It's interesting that the red's up above and the crown chakra's below, and that's kind of what's going on. I'm watching people systematically, because their crown wants to open and develop and connect and reach out to the loved ones on the other side, or just have a cure for boredom in their astral traveling and things like that, going into other worlds. It's sort of a personal approach to what happens with this kind of influence, but what's happening energetically to lead it is the fact that your chakra system has to be more balanced, right? Like, you can feel and think and do all kinds of things, imagine your life in any form, but if you can't bring it in through the root chakra properly, you're not going to have you'll have results, but they might not be stabilizing and long lasting. They might be short term and fleeting, which would cause other traumas. In fact, if you put this template onto a love relationship and it ended, and the wound that you carry from that. So you may also consider with this card that our spiritual contracts do have clauses in them that, hey, we're gonna come in and face these themes and lessons in order to learn and sort of graduate into new levels of consciousness, spiritual consciousness, and energetic as well. So the choice to clear it or stuff it away for another round of eons, I'd say offload it now, before the middle of the month. So, like, bless your goodbyes. I remember, feeling this earlier last month. This came up in my video. So it seems to be a bit of an overlap, clearly. And so basically, I feel like we're all going to be extremely emotionally sensitive in all kinds of wounded ways. So it's probably, I would say, simplify as well. Don't go to war every day if you're in this state naturally without any help. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really humanity's fault that you've had eons of pain and eons of deaths and things like that. Like say goodbyes in all your other lifetimes. If we can accept it, I mean, I think that we need challenge, but we don't need struggle, Like, so challenge yourself to anchor. Oh, that's the other thing with this, like the magenta's below the root, the crown's below the root to me in this card. So a lot of times when you are better connected to your core energy and your higher self and all the beings that are helping you be you, you just have no reference point for this new state, when you feel like you're off balance or you're not grounded or you're not rooted. And in fact, because you're more connected than ever, you're actually more connected than ever. So don't assume that you're a mess right now, even though it looks like you are. Okay? And if things feel out of reach or whatever, work with what's within reach. And if that's your pain and discomfort, then work out figuring out how to not continue the pain and the discomfort into this new part of, the energies coming with the eclipse, because it's going to set off a new cycle for us anyway. And anyway, eclipse energies often close doorways before they open doorways, or a new doorway is calling to open for us. as we're trying to close one behind us. So use the momentum of endings to lay rest and peace to the parts of you that aren't working, that aren't serving your highest good, or that are, by just pointing out where you need to fine tune your efforts, right? I mean, I've never read somebody in a personal reading who didn't come into it with the intention to know more and do better. I mean, I think that's a natural approach for all of us, you know, one way or another. We kind of wake up and face our days like, what are we going to do now? What needs to be done? So I think what needs to be done is say a prayer to your wounded one and allow it to shine and release, essentially. And crossing us is adorably the Lover's card. And you know, let's go back to this card and look at I'm reading the duality in this card between the crown chakra and the root chakra, because they're so different, right? Like the root chakra mistrusts and doesn't, you know, just mistrusts all the time and doesn't believe in much at all. And then the crown chakra knows and understands that everything is in perfect order, even if it makes no sense at all. So take what you will from that. I think all of our spiritual growth is a paradox. I think most of life is a paradox, and upside down does need to happen, and the polar shifts do happen, don't they? Like the polarity shift is real. Okay, so back to the Lover's card. So the duality as well, you know, as above, so below, you know what I mean? Root deeper, you have a wider crown chakra by default, almost like, you know, 100%. So the Lover's card, yeah, this is like making peace with yourself, basically. This is very much making peace with yourself, making peace in all your relationships. I mean, if you prefer to work in the outer realms instead of the inner realms, then go make good with all the relationships you ever had, basically. Or no, don't go that far. Maybe just show up, you know, in the moment with your loved one, basically. Even in the trauma parts, right? Like, if you can get through the day wounded without being your wound to the world, that is a massive accomplishment, right? It's because a lot of what we see as far as the violence in the world, or violence against women, or violence against anybody, is rooted in that kind of beginning, I believe. Again, that's core. I guess I keep hearing the word core. Alright, what else do I want to say about the Lover's card? Yeah, our heart chakra is expanding. I think it's expanding on the planet, even though it doesn't look like it. I know it's scary, right? Like but honestly, day to day, I see it. So just watch for it. Be the love, I think, you know. And if you can't be the love, stay at home and don't get involved with the planet. Like, just keep it simple. Because anyway, there's too much going on internally. Like, this is what we're coming in with, Holy Mother of Goodness me. So yeah, resolve. Don't create conflict this week. There may be a lot of conflict around you, and there may be a lot of people there that around you that aren't as spiritually evolved as you, that don't see through things, that don't have the faith structures that you have, that don't love themselves as much as you do. So, you know, don't take for granted that people are where you are when you go out in the world either, you know. I mean, that's how light gets foiled, isn't it? Anyway, Page of Cups is also coming up, so we're doing a lot of heart-to-hearts with this, you know. Like, there may be a lot of If you are the one who's sort of spiritually leading through your life in the little circles around you, then people may be coming to you for more solace or more comfort, or you may be tuning into the fact that, man down, man down. You may be, if you're feeling like you need to reach out and speak out or speak up or do something, because this card is very much a speak up card. It's, yes, I've been traumatized. Yes, I don't want to talk about it. Yes, I've been wounded. But at some point, the words need to come out. The healing needs to happen. Like, it cannot be suppressed forever. So that's my last plug too. Clear out your first chakra before September 17th. No pressure. But the Page of Cups is coming in strong, as I said. And again, it's heart-based. So, heart momentum. And that's true too. Your core is your heart. Some would call it your root. Some would call it all other, center points of your chakra system. But the fact is, I believe it is your heart. And your soul isn't far off from there. So your yearnings, share, if you're speak your new dreams into reality instead of, talk yourself out of them. Endorse and empower yourself through affirming words. I remember feeling this too, we're way more sensitive to what hits our ears, whether that's gossip or talking down or negativity. I don't like a lot of people just can't handle that kind of stuff anymore, right? Like, you start to when you do this card and you do clear it, and this is your reward, you've done it. You're really, you get through the day a little easier, don't you? So have your heart to hearts. If there are things like, don't keep things bottled up, basically. No time for bottling up. So if you were doing, let's see what else we got though. Let's see how this is going to roll. And look at that, after the Lover's card, you get the Ten of Cups. Isn't that interesting? So if you've been making choices all along in these last number of years, like, since 2020, when everyone was hit with massive inner awakenings, like, holy wow, I'm not happy, what am I going to do for my new dream to come true? This is, I think there's a lot culminating for people who did it, who were willing to face all of their challenges and, life adornments and sidestepping realities that slow us down at times and keep us guessing. So the Ten of Cups is very much like a fulfillment, dream come true card. So then I would say, if it feels like you're not getting there, don't believe that. We've also got Page of Pentacles, which talks about value structure, and all these page cards, of course, can be speaking about your youth in your life too, and putting more efforts into your kids and being more one-on-one and more quality time and more individual time. And don't underestimate the need if you're raising 2 and 3 kids in a household, or however many, and subsets and all the rest of it, that family time's great, but so's the one-on-one. So make sure, if that's what's up for you, that same thing. Affirm what's working. Acknowledge where the imbalance may feel like it needs some correction, but don't dwell on the imbalance, right? I really do feel like, energetically, how I read it when I'm looking at people's energy systems, our energetics, our spiritual energetics change, and then everything else sort of falls in line. So cut yourself some slack. There's like this involuntary part of you that just, keeps working and moving forward. Yeah. So, and anyway, yeah, the one-on-one, I think people are really, I've seen a lot of people just get really clear about what's really important, what the priorities are. And for most people, it's people and their relationships. So, also, this can speak very much to some inner child healing. If you're not having kids and not having to nurture them in interesting new ways. Oh, also, let's go back to the kids for a second because this is true too. Often, our children are our psychic blind spots, right? Like, spirit doesn't let you see everything because you're on a need to know basis, and it's based on how much spirit trusts you. Not on, I mean, a little bit on how much you trust spirit, but trust me, it's a whole lot about how much does spirit trust you with the intel. So, bear in mind that the children and the young ones who are open and more receptive and come in a little more fully loaded than you do, my love, from previous generations, it's a whole different ball game. So honor the fact that you may have very good psychics in your household who are seeing things that you can't and could be very helpful for you. So be willing to be the student as much as the teacher in your own household. Be willing to, consider new options and new ideas and new pathways for, or from others around you who may have their own intel that they're not telling you about, okay? It's really, because you cannot be narrow-minded, I guess is what I'm trying to say during this next couple of weeks. It's not good to go into, just try not to be narrow-minded. Just try not to close yourself off. I don't remember which deck I was pulling from, so I think it was this one. And I've got, let's see how many cards now. We're going through the wheel here. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. This is good too. Because this is actually I call this position on the Celtic wheel, on the Celtic cross, the doorway to the future. And I feel like this is the most important card of the spread because a lot of the other cards sort of show you and the energies you're dealing with and the influences around you, but this shows a little bit more about the direction that you're going in. And often this card comes in with sidelines of income where, there's a sudden breakthrough in your finances. People could invest in you, you can invest in you. Mostly it's money, it's actual money, and it's new beginnings with money. So it would make sense that if you are doing your due diligence and clearing out the emotional stuff and willingly allowing it to move through you and processing it, then that's part of how you manifest, right? You clear out the root so the crown can fill it. And the fact that the crown is in the root here, I would say, is representative of that. So let yourself, think of it that way. This is another thing I see constantly when I do the energetic reads in people. Their expansion comes because of what they were willing to let go before, right? Like, you're scheduled for an expansion anyway, no matter how you slice it. How much of an expansion will be determined by how much you let go of, right? Like, if you're holding on, no, although every instinct is saying let go, then you're messing with your own timelines, and I wouldn't do that. So unless, you know what I mean. Yeah, that's what I think. I think you would need, so your abundance comes because you're willing to let things go, right? If you ever hear about women who couldn't get pregnant, try. And then finally they just went, forget about it, I guess I'm not going to get pregnant. Or they just, whatever, turned it off. Their desire for it their acceptance that it may not happen, and that it may not be theirs to have happen for, is enough to change the entire destiny of their future. And then before you know it, they're pregnant, and oh my God, there they go. So be the not being right now, I guess. Don't be too married to the outcome. Don't be too married to the process. Don't be too married to the options. Don't, give yourself the options. It's kind of interesting. We have all these cards that are like coupling. Great. Because it could be that, you are, part of your heart, soul destiny could be to bring more love onto this planet through the people you love and projects that you bring love to, and on and on and on, and the love that you bestow upon yourself, because the more you can love yourself, the more others will love you. We know this, right? You've seen actionable examples of that. Lots of green. How did I know? Anyway, she told me earlier she was coming. What else do I want to say about this? Okay, where are we? How many numbers? I keep moving the cards around. So our gateway is the ace. Okay, so the ace is like beginners, right? Beginners, new beginnings. I think they bring in. I think the aces bring in the gods of creation, or the ability to create, the ability to fast track as well. I think the eclipses bring the fast track, obviously. So doubling up with this, I think it's great. So if you've been waiting for massive amounts of money, things are looking up. Okay. Oh my goodness me. Holy mother of goodness me. Wow. You're not going to believe it. Okay, so, wow. Crown chakra, root chakra I was talking about earlier, and the relationship itself, and clearing out the root brings more abundance, and on and on and on, right? So, I'm just going to show you all these cards almost right away, because we're going to have to talk about them all, but you may as well see them first. High Priestess. I call her the most psychic girl in the deck. Personally, the Sun, yeah, that solar eclipse I was talking about from April, that just changed so many people, markedly. They could describe, I could describe, and then they could describe exactly how what happened to them. So, and many people, their psychic stuff just loaded in, man. If you hadn't had it before, it was on board, ready to go. It can be very eerie when that kind of stuff happens. So these are all very powerful, high spiritual cards. Wheel of Fortune, the Sun and High Priestess. So I believe from the way that this particular deck has taught me, actually, that the High Priestess requires a go with the flow attitude. We are going into a lunar eclipse, and we are fluid, so you would need to go with the flow. The part about the High Priestess that makes it spiritual, as part of your spiritual evolution, is that it requires complete surrender. Just like that little example of a woman wanting to have a child and not being able to get pregnant. If you're holding on too much to wanting to have a child, it's a spiritual endeavor. First the spirit is made up here, and all those contracts are organized, and then they figure out how to get this little thing into your body. You're not in control of it as you'd like to think, honestly, right? So hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're not as in control of that part of your destiny. You have supports for it, and if you're smart enough to surrender, we have to say goodbyes all day long to everything in some way, because nothing lasts forever. Seriously, even the most vowest of vows that we make in our lifetimes end, usually before we die, on to some level, one level or another. So it's ironic that people hold on so much when the letting go is so inevitable, right? Nobody wants to talk about their inevitable death when they're too busy living. And anyway, the high priestess demands that you are the flow. As part of this flow, the bigger flow, not your, not a self-centered, narrow-minded, one option only, I better get it the way I need it result. Like, high priestess will, like, like there'll be nothing left of you. Don't do that. I can promise you, don't do that in these next couple of weeks. Be the flow. Ask yourself, where is the flow? What is the flow? And follow the flow. If the flow is that you're unhappy and you're leaving the marriage, that's the flow. If the flow is you're reaching higher for more challenge because you must in your career, you have no choice, you're taking a deep breath and you're rolling with that, right? It's going to suck you into it anyway, because in a minute we're going to start talking about the Wheel of Fortune. So if you are in a willing state of surrender and trust your higher self just alone, let alone the gods and everybody else trying to help you, then get out of your own way and like just allow, be in a state of allowance, you know, have no preconceived notions, have a dream, have a vision, yeah, but don't get all sticky with it, because like, how many times has it worked out the way you wanted to? It's usually better. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes it's a gut-wrenching punch. But it's always different, right? How many times are you worried about something you never had to worry about? So surrender. What can you surrender? You must surrender. Okay? Seriously. Yeah. No pressure. Core logic. Okay, so the sun again, like I said, massive amounts of shifting around on the planet. If you are alone in your psychic development or in your spiritual growth or in your heart expansion and there's nobody to talk to and you don't see it in anybody else around you because you are the spiritual leader in your world and you are trying to shed light on everybody and maybe nobody's shedding light on you, just trust. There are so many others. There are so many others. I've seen them firsthand, energetically. All the invisible parts, all working towards the light. So don't let the dark world confuse you, okay? Just keep working on your light. Keep working on the things that bring you light, that make you lighter. Hang around the people that bring you sunshine. Do you know what I mean? And just roll with it. You are getting messages. It's not your imagination, okay? You've uploaded quite a bit. Like, I know we've all been processing one way or another for months. This has been a very demanding year, energetically and emotionally. So, and very challenging for a lot of people. So, but the payoff is also very large. And looming large, as if, like, seriously, where is the love? Okay? Let's get to the Wheel of Fortune, because, okay, this is how I read the Wheel of Fortune, because, again, they tell me, all the days out there, they tell me how to do this. So the Wheel of Fortune, energetically, brings more opportunity, for sure. Absolutely. She comes at a time when you're finishing off an old world and starting a new world often, where, you know, you do want the growth, you do want the reach, you're willing to work for it, that kind of a thing. The Wheel of Fortune doesn't show up for the what do you call it? The fake it till you make it. No, maybe not say it that way. Let's see. Better way to say it. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune doesn't show up for the newbies, okay? She doesn't. She saves her presence for the ones who have gone to the deepest, hardest, darkest, most unyielding parts of themselves and brought in fluidity, as a matter of fact, ironically enough, and then rewards you for your efforts by bringing more possibility. Like, that's the benefit of doing the ugly work, admitting your defeat, or not being so judgmental, or trying to turn your mind off, or doing that kind of hard work where you can just master some kind of self control, some kind of new level of control without being in control. Like, that's like, talk about a paradox, the control without the control. So be aware that the Wheel of Fortune also comes with tests. She's willing to give you anything, basically. Everything could be starting to just hit your field because you are becoming more abundant, right? And keep in mind that she will test. So in relationships, let's say, this is it, you're finally just going to get into a relationship and you're going to be more serious, and on and on. You may meet a couple people who are more like the kind of people you are trying to leave behind once and for all, during this cycle of tragic releases. So, you may be desperate enough to just get into a relationship, so you'll just dive right in without heeding the red flags or the warnings or the spidey sense that's hitting the back of your neck or whatever it is. And then there could be disruptions or slowdowns or setbacks, or the part of you, that goes, damn, I should have known. I knew not to do that. So she comes with her own test to see, where are you? It looks like you're working into your new world. It looks like you're committed to it. But if we put it to the test, do you fold under the pressure and default to the old behavior? Or do you stand resolute in your core structure, knowing through your own core value and your core connection, because now you're deeper in your own crown and root chakra, I should say. Like, that's the choice. Option one, option two, ding ding. So I would say, yeah, like, be aware, hyper aware, that you're in an expansive period coming up. And I believe there's always there's subtle energetic tests all the way, because that's just how energy works. Like, if you're not the energy, you're not the energy. So, you can talk about the energy, you can wish about the energy, hope about the energy, plan for the energy. But if you're not living it in a core, she knows. So, so be aware that there may be almost like a feeling like, oh, you're getting set up somehow a little bit. What's the catch to accepting this gift? Or is this the gift? Like, you may undermine, a lot of times when the options happen, you undermine it. Like, somebody shows up and wants to give you something, like an opportunity of a lifetime. Oh my God, a job that nobody can get in unless you know somebody. Like, try to get into the government job in Ontario. See how that goes without knowing somebody. Do things like that. So if an opportunity jumps at you and you're low, you didn't do the work on your self-esteem to build your self-esteem, and the day you get the opportunity, you default into a low self-esteem. You know what I mean? Then you've missed an opportunity because you defaulted to something you just tried so hard to get out of. So that's what the Wheel of Fortune. It looks fantastic on the surface, but it means two things. It means you've grown enough that you are building the trust in your help, meaning this has way more to do with your spirit guides than it does your ancestors. By the way, I'm going to separate that right now. The spirit guides are the ones that kind of watch that, right? Monitor, more like truant officers. Did she undermine? Oh well, I guess that's a lost opportunity. Oh well, another one won't come for like 50 years. No, I don't know. But hey, whatever. It just came through my mouth. God knows I'm channeling. So use this opportunity of expansion. If you have a hard time, um, standing out in the light because you just pulled something off, you may have to deal with those insecurities before you get your goods. You know what I mean? So there's going to be some test here, and I think just, what? Be willing to let people give you things unless you really think, no, I'm not going to say think. I'm going to say feel. If you get the intuition that it's, that's one of those opt-out moments, then opt out. But this is the kind of stuff we're dealing with. So, and oh goodness, the last card for this Celtic cross is the Emperor. The Emperor, well, she's not the Empress actually, she's the feminine Emperor. I feel like she's the change agent. That's what I like to look at her as. I feel like this person goes into the workplace and shakes things up and creates new structure where old stodgy structure needed to reform itself, basically. The Emperor I kind of look at as authorities and political structures and huge bodies like universities and things like that. So you could apply this to that too if you're working in any of those fields, or if you're managing or trying to manage or doing anything like that. You're probably being called, like, this is like leadership stuff. Like if you're moving into more connection with yourself, then you would be triumphing in every realm essentially, because connection allows for that. And I think that's one of the most misunderstood things about spiritual growth, because it looks like it's hard or it looks like it's a challenge, and yet once you get into the flow of your own connection and into your own life and understand like what is yours to do in the world, you're not really in any other world but your own. And levels of support are available to you where you can just basically call your own shots because you're working your own divine contracts, basically. So these are all extremely like Emperor, Wheel of Fortune, the Sun, the High Priestess, the Lovers. We got them all. That's 5 of the major arcana. Usually, when you do a reading like this and more than 3 of these arcana show up, you only read from the 24 major arcana, the minor arcana. So it's interesting that the gateway into our future in this spread was basically the gods and the new beginnings with our abundant world, taking root and offshooting, expanding around us, right in front of us, with divine permissions. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, just bam, 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 bam. So if you don't think this planet is rising to the occasion of whatever, blessed awakening, I'm sorry. I see it every minute of the day. It's a doozy. And just, you really aren't alone. I know you probably, like a lot of people, feel so alone in their growth. So just do yourself the favor of, when your Wheel of Fortune opportunities come up around, reach high, Like if you're offered one, ask for two. One for each hand. Okay? Like that's what you need to do too. Dare to reach so you can receive more, even though you're humble and you don't need anything. Okay? Because you need right? The whole point of anyone in the outside world giving to you is in a way to resource you for your own spiritual mission as it is, right? Like if somebody's willing to cook for you, great, you're not hungry on your journey. Like, why say no to a good meal? Yeah, so that's, I guess, what I'm getting. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say about this. I feel about this. Yeah, I'd say just enjoy. I mean, even though I know there's a lot of emotional duress and a lot of anxiety and a lot of other, stuff going on in the bodies of mostly everyone right now, that may tell you otherwise. So just be aware that there, you know what I mean? Like some parts of your body don't tell the truth, okay? Like your head does not always tell you the truth. So keep that in mind. And that's, I think, why I'm saying, don't be narrow-minded at a time like this. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, as always, much love. And I hope, just manage the energies, all in all, keep in mind, and I don't think anybody says this out loud enough for any one of us to hear, but you are here by divine right, and you have the divine right to make your life the best life that you can. You are allowed to be happy. You are allowed to grow beautifully, and you're allowed to, witness extraordinary events of your own doing, as you go. So don't forget, like, you're so individual. Just lean into that, Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just pay attention to what you need to be doing for yourself, and keep it extremely simple. And definitely make sure, if you can, either before you go to sleep at night or as you're waking up in the morning, just try to, make the contact with your higher power, higher self in the most cognizant, consciously aware way, and see how well you do together. Because that's part of this interesting paradox. All the parts of you that you can't see, that can see all the parts of you, you just don't even know about yet, right? Like a lot of people I've noticed are just getting these beautiful glimpses of the enormity of what they've come here to do, right? Like if you knew it at the beginning, you'd be freaking out and running out going, I can't do that, but if you've had time through these cycles to dig in a little bit and clear off the insecurities and go, hey, even though I feel like I cannot do it, I am a masterful being and here by divine right. I must have come here to do something, and off you go. I think that's, I think that's the way it's going to go. Yeah, because the whole point is, I guess maybe what I'm seeing too is, or what I'm just starting to pick up as they're talking to me, is, you have to be connected to understand what's going on in the world. It's not turning on the news programs, as we've learned, clearly. So, like, the news comes into you every day, whether you believe it or not. You just may be shutting it out in ways you're not aware of, or not as open to it as you thought you were, and on and on and on, right? Like, fill in the blanks for yourself. But the point is, you need to get there. And that's the truth. And your body, when you make the time to connect to it and understand what it's telling you, like, when your shackles start to stand up and tell you to run, or you can't be around that person because they're negative, or whatever the point is, you know, that means something, right? It's not, these are not the parts of you that should be overridden or ignored. Those are the parts of you that are like yelling at you basically in subtle ways all day long. So I would also be very aware of that, like, and keep in mind, if we had that, you know, the lovers, that is, you're, you know, all these parts of you, the other part of you here, the other part of you there, you can expand into all of that. Okay, so I'm going to pick one more card just to give us a little hint on, once we get over into the new eclipse here. So I'll do a full reading anyway, but right now, oh, she was okay, she came back. Wow. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then they come back again. So yeah, have your heart to hearts, work it out. Maybe you go talk to people who, whatever, if it's a career thing, go talk to people in those careers. Do you really want that career? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? You know, go talk to the experts. Go talk to your peers that you admire, that know more than you do. Go talk to everybody. Go share it. You know what? It's true. Sometimes one sentence out of a stranger's mouth resonates for decades and alters lifetimes. And sometimes there's a lot of people who go, I don't know what I'm here for. I don't know what I'm here for. What if that was your mission? To have like one-liners around your day at the grocery store, and in the line at the pharmacy, or in the parking lot, or in all the mundane places that need to happen no matter what, because we have to stay alive, taking care of ourselves. You know, what if you're somebody's savior and you don't even know it? So yeah, I think honestly, not everybody's out of their dark night of the soul during this whole phase, by the way, you know. So just keep that in mind. Almost like, oh gosh, I'm hearing somebody say, if you see something, say something. You know, like at the airports. If you see something, say something. You know, keep it kind and lovely. Just say it. People need to hear it. Really, they do. It's a very emotional time for the empaths, by the way. Oh my goodness. So wrap yourself in whatever veil of protection works for you as you bravely face the other world. But don't go out there unless you love yourself first, okay? Oh my gosh. Like, all three cards just popped out. She popped out. He popped out. There's that masculine counterpart to the feminine emperor that showed up earlier. And look who's showing up too. The cutie pie queen of wands, who loves to do everything naturally. You know, and gee, what's standing over her head? A giant golden solar exemplified version of, I'd say, divine light. So, and you know, she likes being self-employed. So you're sovereign to your soul, essentially. That's really what's, I guess, that's the point. And like I said earlier, I felt like people were going through all kinds of stuff up and down their spinal columns, in and out of their neural pathways, their blood system, like all kinds of ways, like, whoa, energetically. So try to keep the most natural approach to, you know, reduce everything to the simplest form, and to its core, strip it to the core, and work with it from there. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Alright, well, I feel a little bit better. I hope you do too. Yeah, wow. Whew. It's amazing what Spirit's trying to pull off right now. So, namaste, and have a fantastic eclipse. So do something, maybe, yeah, keep your schedule don't overload too much around the days surrounding it either, eh? Because it's a lot of, I'd stay out of the fray all around, basically. Find a quiet mountaintop like I did with some tree frogs that sing all night long. Keep away from the humanity. No, I'm only kidding. Sort of. Anyway, much love. Thanks for coming into my channel. Let me know how you're doing, and you know how to reach me, hopefully. All right? And much love until I see you again. Bye.